Okay, good evening, Happy New Year. We're here at Town Hall at the Select Board Meeting Room for the January 9th, 2024 Select Board Meeting. We're also on Zoom, on RCTV, and on RCTV's YouTube channel. So just an overview, we'll start with public comment, then we'll have Select Board Liaison and Town Manager reports from our new acting Town Manager. Then at 7:30, we'll have a public hearing on the new liquor license application for post 1917 at 136 Haven Street. I believe we are postponing the Edge Sports for Simon's Way presentation. Carlo, any updates or anything else you want to say on that?
No, he's lost his voice. So, whether it was Zoom or in person, he could not attend tonight.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to get it when we talk about future agendas on the next meeting. Thanks.
Okay, so next will be a presentation of the Council on Aging, and then we'll discuss future agenda items and approve, I think, one set of meeting minutes before we go into executive session to vote on approving collective bargaining agreements with Public Works, AXME Council 93, Local 1703, and the Public Works Supervisory Union, AXME Council 93, Local 1703. So with that, are there any residents in the room who would like to make public comment? Yes, sir. If you could please come up to the lectern so that the camera can see you, provide your name and address. Thank you.
My name is Peter Kramer, 343 Franklin Street. I want to thank you, Carlo. Thank you, brother. Thank you for returning my phone calls. Evidently, everybody's phone, a couple of phones were broken. So I'm here about the sidewalks not being plowed. This is my third time in 6 years I've been before this board on getting these sidewalks plowed before the guys go home. Now, the Public Works is going to tell you it was an all hands on deck. They're short of people, they're short of things and everything else. My son spent 30 hours at the town of Wakefield, drove home to his home on Pleasant Street, over sloppily plowed roads with no sidewalks done. Wakefield was bare and all their sidewalks were done. Stonehams were all done. I think it's outrageous that you allowed this to happen. This is my third time in 6 years coming in front of you about these stupid sidewalks. They have the equipment. It started in 1980 when the town did not have the equipment, and Heckenblecker and Mr. Fletcher got together and they got all the snow blowers and all the proper equipment. You got more equipment than Cardigan Liverpills. If you can't find the people, this goes back to when I came back to you in the spring telling you that the Public Works was underpaid and you can't keep help. So this goes back to the spring when you did nothing about it. So this is going to keep going on. I think it's outrageous that you send kids to school. I live on Franklin Street, which is a very dangerous street. I live on the corner of Sunset Rock. I watch the kids. It's unbelievable. And I think what you should do, Madam Chairman, is get on the phone tomorrow morning to the Director of Public Works in Wakefield and ask him how they get it done. Because your department can't do it. I've lived in this town 71 years. I took care of the Charles' building for 29 years. They had the best sidewalks and the cleanest parking lot. I can plow snow. 49 years I plowed snow. Not too much anybody can tell me. Jim Lynch is the only guy, and he's retired. He retired a year before me. But it's time you get off your butts and take care of these sidewalks. One kid gets hurt. One kid, it's on your shoulders. I talked to Chris the other day. He and I agree on it. And for me to see equipment cleaning these sidewalks in this square before I see equipment doing the sidewalks for the schools is outrageous. It's outrageous. So, Madam Chairman, I would appreciate a phone call from you. What you're going to do about this. Is that agreeable?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Chris, thank you. Carlo, be good, bro.
Okay, anyone else in the room who'd like to make public comment? Okay, Caitlin, do we have anyone on Zoom?
I do not believe so, no.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll move on to select board liaison reports. Karen?
So this was a big week for the Killam School Building Committee. We met Monday night as a full committee, and then a subset met with the MSBA today. And I would like to invite everyone on Thursday to the first Killam Community Kickoff Meeting. It will be held at Killam in the Killam Cafe, which I do believe is a cafetorium. All are welcome, and I think it would be a great opportunity for other select board members to come. I do believe a lot of information will be given out, and I think we can just be sensible and not travel together or huddle in small groups, and it's fine to be community members. You don't. So anyway, it'd also be, well, I wouldn't count on RCTV filming it tomorrow, but it's a great opportunity if you'll like to attend, but there will be other.
Tomorrow or Thursday?
Thursday
Okay.
at 5:15
Yeah.
to 6:45.
Okay.
It'll be an initial presentation of information, and then so small group breakout sessions. Carlo, I'm sure they would welcome you to come on in. I think I invited some of the delegation because one of the key deliverables of this meeting will really hear from the community what they want to see in a school. So I'm excited to go. So we did that. We were presented on Monday with some key deadlines or dates, and for us to keep in mind. So it'll be a very busy 8 months for the Killam School Building Committee. They'll be meeting twice a month. August 21st this year would theoretically be the end of feasibility if we stick to this schedule, and we will have a preferred schematic design. That'll be our one option. So between now and then, we need to go through renovate versus build new, have various scenarios. There's some interim dates with the MSBA where we communicate with them, but August 21st is the current schedule for getting down to a single schematic design. And then other important dates. Currently, this would set us up for an MSBA review and approval, April 30th, 2025. So sometime that spring, a town meeting would need to approve this project to go forward, and then we would need to have an election after that. So we have plenty of time to figure that out. There was some discussion going back to 2050 when we had all those special town meetings. I think it was the library. So I think the library works similarly. We had a separate town meeting, a one-day event just for the library project. So anyway, just to give you guys a heads up, I'm sure it will be represented. One of the other key topics was the creation of working groups, one for educators, one for sustainability, and one for communication. And a key subtopic is the website. We talked about vendors, and we will continue the discussion. Just be really clear on what will get up there, who will put it there, and just make sure it is available. So that's a key deliverable. The educators were invited to go see some schools on Thursday in Ashland, Harvard, Tewksbury, and Danvers. The rest of the committee is invited, but I don't know who will be able to make it on this short notice. We will be scheduling additional site visits to net zero ready schools, so we understand that. And let's see, I also attended a meeting to get a bid update this morning. Liz Whitelam hosted it at Whitelam Books. Ben Cares was there, a number of business owners, property owners, our new director of the chamber was there. So I know we haven't heard from them recently. I'm happy to hear they're still working in the background. They feel like they've gotten some new property owners or business owners to sign up. They're still working towards the momentum where they have a percentage where they can feel comfortable that they're ready to take this on officially and talk to the select board about it. I did encourage them to maybe come and give us an update. One of the exciting things that Liz mentioned today was that this bid is fully supported by our delegation and all communities are encouraged at the state level to consider business improvement districts. And it also lays the groundwork for successful related grant applications. So again, just it was wonderful to be reminded of the benefits for the businesses, for our community, for the property owners, and how a bid can really improve the value of their properties and their businesses. So that was very exciting. And I was able to visit the Council on Aging briefly and just check in with the CPDC partially. That's it. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Chris?
Thanks, Jackie. Someone's doorbell's ringing.
I love Apple. It's so awesome.
The school committee met last week and went over the FY25 budget, which is around $50 million, and it's going to be going up $2 million over FY24, mainly because of special education and a couple of other full-time positions that they hired, as well as paying down full-day kindergarten. They also had the Reading Field Hockey Champions there to go over their story and their successful season that they had, which maybe is a sidetrack to find out how that sign outside the Walgreens gets updated, but we'll go over that in the future. And then the Charter Committee met yesterday. We wrapped up Articles 7 and 8, which is now the entire charter that we went through. Our first pass on everything. No votes have been taken. It's just mainly changing things how I believe it's going to be unanimous when we're done in the end. There hasn't been any real controversial kind of changes. Brig Phipps also came and presented because there's some changes to RMLD in there that may or may not happen. David Zeke also came in on the recall election portion and had a presentation on that that will take under advisement. We had a bunch of back and forth with that over the course of an hour for that. So our next meeting is January 29th, I believe it is, if that's a Monday. And then after that, we're going to be looking at scheduling something for public input. There's been public comment at the beginning of every meeting, but just more of a forum where anybody can come in, ask questions, see. Laura updated the website with the draft changes for the charter, which will now be the entire 1 through 8 that we've gone through. So a lot of good work with that and people making their schedules available to get through that quickly. But once again, it's the first pass through, but still it's 8 sections. So that's pretty much it.
Okay, thanks. Mark?
Thanks, Jackie. So a few updates. First, start with progress being made on the senior center. We're going to have an update coming from the Council on Aging this evening, which is great. One of the things that did take place is Recalc had some individuals who were assigned to bring the architect up to speed and get them clear kind of on how all the things that we've already done. They have done that. They've had a couple of discussions with the architect, and I feel good. I think we got the right group. I think they're going to do a great job on that. They put together a schedule for discussion. It's going to involve a bunch of public meetings. So there'll be a chance to give input. All of the different aspects of the community will be invited to do that. That'll be coming out pretty soon. But essentially, I believe it's kind of a monthly update in terms of what's going on. They're hoping to have not the feasibility study done, but kind of their first phase in terms of review and taking a look at some sites and having some information to share in the March-April timeframe. So we'll see. There'll certainly be some kind of an update for town meeting, but certainly not a finished product at that point. But exciting and lots of activity going on, which is wonderful. PAIR had a meeting, I think late December. It was late December, sorry. So since our last meeting, and good chance for the new Director of Equity and Social Justice to kind of meet the group that have been doing some activities in town. So this is a group of volunteers that get together. So it's Partners and Allies for an Inclusive Reading is what PAIR stands for. They get together, oh gosh, it's once a month. I think it's the last Wednesday, but I'm not 100% positive. Sorry about that. But some good progress in really getting kind of the director kind of up to speed in terms of what the community can do. and some activities there. I know Matt's going to talk about it, but I won't take all your thunder, but just be clear that on Monday, I got the color one. I think you have a black and white one.
Black and white.
Yeah, so I did color. The town's annual Martin Luther King Day celebration at the Reading Memorial High School Performing Arts Center on Monday, starting at 9:30 to 11. Breakfast will be served. I'll let you focus on that. There's also a district-wide project that was taking place about standing tall after learning about Black role models and Dr. Martin Luther King's advice. It's always the right time to do what is right. These will be on display in the walls in the just outside the Performing Arts Center in the high school. There was an incident, I haven't touched base with you on this one, late last year at the ice rink where a member of the board of directors of the ice arena had a pretty tough medical emergency and apparently is recovering really nicely. And a lot of it was due to the great support and service that was given by the folks at the ice arena first and then by first responders who came after that and created a good outcome from what could have been a really bad one. I understand there may be some kind of a celebration tomorrow at 11 o'clock, some kind of recognition taking place. That's going to be at the ice arena at 11 tomorrow, so folks are able to do that. And those are my updates.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Carlo?
Thanks. Sadly, nothing for me, but could I ask Mark a quick question? Is that okay?
Yes.
Mark, I can't remember the timetable. Are we on track for the feasibility study, or is it taking longer, a little bit longer than it should? I don't remember.
They're on track with the
Estimate that they gave. No delays. The first part really was making sure they've gathered the information and start meeting with the different stakeholders and start having those meetings. And then I think the feasibility study, I'll check the exact date. And once that schedule is finalized, I'll share that with the board. I'll share that with all the board members. But it's pretty much on track. The timing, I believe, would have them completed with their, even with schematic drawings, by the May-June timeframe of this year, 2024. So recommended site and drawings.
Was it always that long? It's refresh my memory. I thought it was a 3-month process. It was always that long?
No, it was an up.
8-month process, 6 to 8 month process in terms of what's going on. The reality is that the start is kind of now. A little bit happened in late December because we brought them on in kind of mid-December. I think we signed the contract. So the first phase of what they're doing, they'll certainly do inside the time frame, and the second phase as well. I think all 3 phases are. So that's the 6 to 8 months. So finishing it in June would be about 6 months.
All right, thanks.
Sure.
Okay, thanks, Carlo. So thank you to town staff and first responders for your responses during the storm on Sunday and what I know is a continuing weather situation out there right now and overnight. And I'm sure we'll hear more about that from Matt. And to the point of a social media post I saw from the town, catch basins. If you're in a position to clear yours or help a neighbor in need, please do so. It'll help a lot with to alleviate street flooding. So last night at CPDC, the board or the commission approved a sign permit at the Dollar Store at Herndon Street. They also approved a site plan for McDonald's on Main Street. This is a complete tear down and renovation. And they just, McDonald's described its most updated traffic flow. And one item to note and to pass along is that they offered $25,000, and I think the CPDC ultimately conditioned the approval on 10% of the project cost for on-site improvements necessitated by this change in traffic flow. So I know we had a fair amount of public interest in that application, so I think that's important to consider and also one thing for us to keep in mind as McDonald's develops. Also, the CPDC took another look at the Pinevale complex, which is, I believe, a 40-unit residential complex, and that has been continued to February 12th. CPDC staff, Andrew and Mary, also gave an update on MBTA communities. I know that they're meeting in December. There was a lot of interest, and there's continued interest and concern about that in advance of town meeting. And so, as you might have seen on social media, staff is hosting information sessions on the MBTA community's requirements at the Reading Public Library at 12:30 on Wednesday, tomorrow, the 10th, next Wednesday, the 17th, and Wednesday, the 24th. They're hosting a public meeting focused on precincts 4 and 5, but open to all. That'll also be at the Reading Public Library at 7 p.m. a week from tonight, January 16th. Staff held a similar meeting with Precinct 2, and they plan to hold additional meetings with Precinct 5 and 7 at the end of January. Just some updates, good and bad, from Beacon Hill. We learned late last year that Reading received $302,000 additional in Chapter 90 transportation infrastructure funding from the state. But then we heard just yesterday that Governor Healy has proposed budget cuts for the first time in a governor's budget since 2016 in response to revenues last 6 months of 2023 being $1 million under expectations. And so what I read is she'll be making or proposing $375 million in cuts, almost $300 million of which will come from the Mass Health Program. But I think it's something that, number one, we need to keep in mind when we're forecasting for state contributions, which may be rather slim. And then I also think it's something worth talking to our delegation about. Maybe when we bring them in, if we bring them in the spring, by then maybe we'll have more detail of what's happening there. Let's see. I think that is it. I guess the last thing I'll say is, for purposes of the calendar, the town meeting screening committee met with candidates last week, and we will host a special select board meeting 1 week from tonight. That's Tuesday, January 16th at 7:30 p.m. And we will have an announcement of the finalists. So we look forward to that. So with that, Matt, I'll turn it to you for a town manager report.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here in the seat. Just to pick up what you said on the budget cuts, I did reach out to the delegation because I had heard it said that local earmarks were in jeopardy. Right now, it doesn't look like any Reading earmarks are in jeopardy. I've talked to the senator's office and the rep's office. Because we don't get a lot of earmarks, and the ones that we do have are not in that part of the budget that is being cut. So that's sort of good news right now. I don't want to say it's final because I need to talk a little bit more. But as soon as I heard about it and read about it in the Globe, I did reach out to the delegation on that to make sure. So, but I think your advice is wise about the overall budget. Let's be careful, budgeting in the future. So. I was going to start off with some announcements. 2 of them have already been covered. The Killam School Community meeting is Thursday, January 11th, 5:15, in the Killam cafeteria. Karen covered that well. We're hoping for really good attendance at that meeting. I've been very much more active now in the Killam School Building Committee in general. I've gone to at least 3 meetings in the last week. So that's really heating up, but we're in really good hands with the committee and with the consultants that we have on board right now. So. Also, the MLK breakfast, as Mark mentioned, is coming up on MLK Day, 9:30 to 11 a.m. at the High School Performing Arts Center. There'll be a breakfast at 9:30. At 10 o'clock, there'll be some guest speakers, choirs. It's going to be a really good celebration, so we're hoping everybody will come down to that on MLK Day. As noted, we had some snow this week. So Reading received more than 10 inches of snow between Saturday and Sunday, as everybody knows. Pre-treating began Saturday night at about 8 o'clock. Plowing operations began at 2 a.m. and final salting ended about 11 p.m. on Sunday. So the sidewalks were done. Monday night, DPW plowed about 40 miles of sidewalk along with other areas in the downtown. So those were done as of last night. We had about 70 pieces of equipment out there. We utilized during the height of the storm probably about 70 to 75 pieces of equipment. So snow plowing and pre-treatment of vehicles lasted for more than 24 hours. So we had people out there 24 hours plus, and that sort of delayed some of the sidewalks. Sidewalk clearing is almost completed. I think it is completed as of today. Please keep in mind that a lot of the timing of the storm, that depends on how we're out there and how long we're out there. So I would ask that you keep that in mind as we go forward. Priority is given to roads for public safety reasons. Sidewalks are done at a later time. And school drop-offs are done when when school is imminent and happening the next day. See-Click Fix is always the best way. We always want to hear from residents. So See-Click Fix, always the best way to get in touch with us if there's an issue. We do want to hear from residents. A big thank you to the DPW. Jane and Chris are here tonight. And the workers that are out there did a really great job. So I want to say that on behalf of the town. In terms of, we've had a really busy, I've had a successful first week, a really busy first week. And I think the next few months will be busy as well. I'm preparing the warrant and everything needed for town meeting. I'm preparing the finalized FY25 budget, and that's going very well. I've become, like I said, an active member of the Killam Building Committee. We had our kickoff meeting today with the MSBA, and that went really well this morning. And we have the community meeting on Thursday, and we have been meeting with the consultants quite a bit over the last few days. Working with staff and consultants on the feasibility study for the active living center, the senior center. Mark knows all about that. So we have some meetings coming up, and it's been really good. We've made some really good progress. We'll hear tonight again from the Council on Aging. And we are finalizing union contracts. Tonight, we have 2 more in executive session, and I think that there's 1 more to go to be negotiated. We've already made some good inroads there, but we have 1 more to go that I'll probably be bringing to you in the next month or 2. So that being the case, I think there's a lot more that I could say about the day-to-day, but those are sort of the highlights and what the future looks like a little bit. Again, thank you on the plowing operation for DPW, and I'm happy to answer any questions regarding anything going on. Yes.
Thank you for confirming that when we're in a weekend storm and you can't just pick up the phone and call DPW or any time, See-Click Fix is the way to go. I got a couple of calls, concerns, and that's exactly where I directed them, and that's good to have that confirmed, and thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, Mark.
Quick question, budget timing, so great that that's coming together. Are the FinCom meetings early March or the early Feb?
March.
March, okay.
Well, March, yeah.
Okay, so you're getting the school committee budget by Feb
Yes.
something?
Yeah, I don't know the exact date, the end of February. And then the FinCom meetings are, I think it's every Wednesday in March going forward. So I think that we'll be in good shape for those. The budget, I met with Sharon a couple more times this week. I think we're in good shape there. I'm putting together the final package that will go to FinCom, and then we'll have more on that for you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay.
So I think we're right on schedule for the public hearing at 7:30. Is there a public hearing notice?
Yes. To the inhabitants of the town of Reading, please take notice that the Select Board of the town of Reading will hold a public hearing on January 9th, 2024 at 7 p.m. in the Select Board Meeting Room at Town Hall, 16 Lowell Street, Reading, Mass. We're also available remotely on Zoom to act on a new all-alcohol restaurant liquor license for Park Restaurant Group LLC, DBA Post 1917 at 136 Haven Street, Reading, Mass. A copy of the proposed documents regarding this topic will be in the Select Board packet on the website www.readingmass.gov. All interested parties are invited to attend the hearing in person or remotely via Zoom, or may submit their comments in writing to townmanager@ci.reading.ma.us.
Thanks, Karen. Matt, do we have any preliminary remarks before we introduce the applicant?
No, I think, the application seems to be in order. We had some discussion with town council. I think town council is good. So I would say you're free to hear from the applicant.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for your time and assistance with this process. Everyone that I've worked with at Town Hall has been fantastic, so it's been great to work with everybody. My name is Attorney AJ Capano, and I represent Park Restaurant Group LLC and its principal, Jason Karen, on tonight's application for an all-alcohol restaurant liquor license for its restaurant post-1917. The restaurant will be located at 136 Haven Street in Commercial Unit Number 2, otherwise known as the Postmark Building. We have recently finalized a long-term lease with the owners there. The restaurant is going to be called Post 1917 as an ode to the post office, which used to occupy the property in the year 1917 when the architectural plans for the former post office were completed. And the group is excited to carry on the historic legacy at that location. The concept for the restaurant is a steakhouse similar to Davio's or Pilana. And the restaurant itself will seat 133, and in the warmer months, an additional 50 on the connected patio space. The restaurant plans to be open Tuesday through Saturday from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. And when the patio can open, it will be serving from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And parking will be served by the municipal lot, which is less than 300 feet away from the restaurant. The applicant has a tremendous amount of experience in the restaurant industry and specifically steakhouses. He graduated from the Culinary Institute of America. He has served as executive chef at some of the most premier steakhouses in the Boston area, including Del Frisco's and Fleming's. And he has demonstrated he's a demonstrated operations professional, having opened numerous restaurants nationally and internationally. Personally, Jason has lived in Reading for the past 10 years, and his fiance is the owner of Tread, the popular spin studio in town. We are confident that Post 1917 aligns with the city's vision for this space and will be part of a vibrant and lively downtown. It's offering a unique dining experience with high standards in terms of food quality, service, and ambiance. And we kindly request your support and guidance throughout this process to ensure a seamless and timely approval. And thank you for consideration of our application, and we're willing to work with any questions that you may have.
No pressure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board members, questions? Karen?
Yeah, welcome. We're really excited. I love steak. I noticed in the packet, the lease wasn't signed. Is it signed now?
Yes. Yeah. I sent that into Jacqueline Nocella and Benjamin Cares, who I've been working with, but
Okay,
absolutely.
just wanna make
Yeah.
Yeah, it's signed.
okay.
Yes, I have that, Karen, in my office.
For confirming that, thank you. And what would your estimated opening date be?
March, April. I'm in there every day pushing, so.
Chris?
Thanks, Jackie. And thank you both for coming in. I think we've sort of seen this presentation before by the last group that came in.
Yeah.
But I think this time around, knowing that the canoe is now gone out of there and you're actually doing bars and everything else and
Yeah.
keeping up to date, I think that you will make your opening March, April. The downtown parking situation, that was going to be my other question, but you mentioned that you're opening at 5 and Haven Street in that area is a ghost town.
And I've been working with Marriott Planning. We're trying to think of a valet situation, so that's gonna come down the road.
Yep.
So, we're anxious about that, but one step at a time.
And I think that section of Haven Street definitely needs more, and I'm excited to see that you'll be bringing people to it because when we have events and everything out here, it's all the businesses here.
Right.
It's Lower Haven has been neglected in that regard, even though anybody can come up here kind of thing. It's more of, we didn't have the anchor, and with Pamplemousse leaving, it's going to be even worse at this point. But
Yeah.
but I think you'll do well over there. I'm excited. I like steak as well, like Karen mentioned, probably more than her. So, yeah, no, best of luck, and
Thank you.
Mark will wrap it up with our final questions. Statements,
Wow,
whatever.
look at
Mark's, other than Jackie, ready, yes.
Carlo, do you have any?
Yeah, thanks. I just wanna congratulate Jason and his team for opening up a restaurant in this difficult climate right now that we have. So I know the town will be looking forward to it, as am I, and I just give him a lot of credit for doing this in this time frame of labor shortage and costs. And so I wish him a lot of luck, and I'm sure he'll be very successful. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mark.
You all set?
Sure.
Thanks for wrap up. So welcome. I too like steak, just to be clear.
There'll be other things under the
Not as much as me, Mark.
I'm not going for the competition. I kind of gave you guys a little preview, but one of the things that's really, really important to this board is that you take the alcohol regulations very seriously, in particular underage drinking, although we talked a little bit about the really bad accidents in town from alleged drunk drivers this past weekend, which is horrible. But we ask that you work very diligently. I saw you got this, tip certification that's in there. It's something we take very seriously. We want to see you regularly, but not because there's a problem with alcohol. So we ask that you take it very seriously also, and just, if it's doing a little bit more, there are people like me who appreciate when we get our age asked, that's okay. But just being I'm not so worried about underage for me, just to be clear.
Yeah.
So it's just important to the board, and we ask that as part of how
I
you operate
appreciate
that
that
restaurant.
very much.
Yeah.
It's going to be part of our training that we do. We're really diligent on that. I play by the rules, so I think we'll be good.
Awesome. Welcome. We very much look forward to it.
Appreciate that. And just to note, everybody in town hall has been fantastic. Really happy. So I appreciate that very
We
much.
love people that are Reading residents and Reading business owners.
Right, Reading does love Reading, so I'm very excited. Superb.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Welcome. Best of luck to you,
Thank
Mr. Kern. And thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
So do we have any, public comment before we close the public hearing on the liquor license application? Okay, seeing none in the room, Caitlin, anyone on Zoom who would like to comment on the application?
Nope, no one online.
Okay, thank you, Caitlin. So is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So move to close the liquor hearing for post 1917.
Okay, thanks, Karen.
Second.
Okay, Karen made the motion and Mark seconded, and so we'll do a roll call vote to close the public hearing for the liquor license application. Carlo, we'll start with you.
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Jackie, yes. Okay, so the public hearing is closed. And so is there any board discussion?
Yes. We have if there's no other discussion, we would go right to our motion. So I wanted to, you all probably know the space was open and empty for 3 years-ish.
Yes. Yeah.
So the board had issued a liquor license to the prior folks, nothing to do with you. But we were in a bit of a pickle, as Carlo was, probably the first to bring up, with this liquor license that we approved and really no business opening, and it not knowing, it was a limbo situation. I don't know if Carlo would agree. So I did speak with town council, and it is very common to issue liquor licenses contingent on the occupancy permit. Isn't a big deal, you get an occupancy permit anyway. So I wanted to discuss with the board whether this might just protect the town and save us some, in the awful event that you run into some delays, this liquor license isn't tied up and we don't have to go back and forth over a 2 or 3 year period trying to chase it down. But it is actually done by a lot of towns. So we could amend the motion to say, the motion would be something like draft to approve the annual all alcohol liquor license for Park Restaurant Group, DBA post 1917 at 136 Haven Street, Reading, Mass, subject to receipt of an occupancy permit. And per town council, it has nothing to do with the ABC stuff. You've already done all of that.
So that's my only question. It would still submit in, if it's approved, it still goes in, they approve it, but then you won't give it to me until I open.
But it would be a contingent approval, just as soon as you get your CO.
Yeah.
Which means you basically gotten your fire, you gotten everything, and we know it's opening, and we know you're ready to go, so boom, it all happens. So, correct me if I'm wrong, no delays, it just is it's tricky for small businesses, anything can happen, so we were just in this weird situation over the past 3 years, and it wasn't a great situation. So, board members.
Yes.
Thanks, Jackie. If you had asked me back then, which I gave my opinion that I would not be voting on another liquor license for that building back then because they didn't do any work on it, that would have been my stance now, what Karen just had outlined. But since my business is over there and I am on Haven Street every single day, they have been working in there. This restaurant is going to open. And if it doesn't, I mean, spoiler for next year, I guess. I guess I wouldn't want to put you through any other extra hoops that you would need. I think that you being Reading residents as well, you are invested in this. I don't think you're going to put your names and fiance's business thing on the line and all this, never to open. So I have the utmost faith, and like I said, I've noticed on your Facebook and website that things are being done, you're taking pictures of all the work getting done. I mean, for me, you're doing what you need to do, and I'm fine with issuing it now without any restrictions, but that will not be the case next year, if you're here, but I don't see that happening. So that's kind of my stance. I was in agreement with Karen 6 months ago, but not in this scenario.
Okay. Mark, Carlo, thoughts on Karen's proposal?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a strong feeling either way. I think, to Chris's point, I think the stuff happening, I'd be comfortable moving forward with it now. I don't want to see you coming back next or at the end of the year to get a renewal if it's not occupied. I would not look favorably on that at all.
We're gonna be occupied. I can guarantee that.
Carlo? Oh, I didn't sneeze.
Yeah, I agree with Chris 100%. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm also okay with the approval as written, without the condition, but on the kind of understanding that we hope not to be in a situation at the end of this calendar year where we have to let this license lapse, like we did with the last one last month. So,
Understood.
yeah, but and as things, if things change, God forbid, please, if you could keep our teams posted.
Of course.
Thank you.
Move to approve the annual all alcohol liquor license for Park Restaurant Group DBA Post 1917 at 136 Haven Street, Reading, Mass.
Second.
Thank you. Karen made the motion, Mark seconded, so we'll do a roll call vote. Carlo, we'll start with you.
Yes.
Okay, Karen? Yes. Mark?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Jackie? Yes. Okay, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Appreciate your help.
Yes.
Appreciate you being here.
I hope to see you soon.
March,
April.
All in good ways.
With that good smell of steak.
And taste, please, too.
Thank you. Okay, so as we noted at the overview, we will table the presentation from Edge Sports regarding Simon's Way. So I know we're way early, even earlier than I had estimated, but I see Nancy and Marilyn in the room for the presentation from the Council on Aging. So I know we received your slides. So Caitlin, could you please show the slides on our screen? And Nancy, welcome.
I just might stay here a little bit longer. It's nice and warm.
Yes.
I'm like my house. I do have some copies of the slides, plus also some additional materials for you to follow along. So thank you all for having me here tonight. I really appreciate it. My name is Nancy Zimlak. I live in Precinct 5. I'm a town meeting member, and I'm also the chair of the Reading Council on Aging. And that's why I'm before you tonight, to tell you a little bit about what the Council on Aging has been up to, so that you have an understanding of where we started in '22, where we ended in '23, and what we hope to do in '24. So this shouldn't take too long. I only have 8 slides here. So in the first slide is basically information that I'm sure you all know, but just in case anybody watching this doesn't know. The Council on Aging functions as a board of directors. It's appointed by the Select Board, and we work in collaboration with the Reading Elder and Human Services Department. We have 10 voting board members and 4 associate members. What's our mission? Our role basically is to identify the needs of the 60-plus community and to educate the town of Reading residents as to what those needs are. We do that via networking and collaborating with various groups in town. And ultimately, our mission is to assist in the development of policy for this community of people in Reading. Next slide. So why is this important? Why is the Council on Aging important? It's because we're all getting older, and the older population is growing. And this is a chart that was put out by UMass when they did their assessment survey back in 22. And basically, they predicted that Reading's older population was going to grow by 29% by the year 2030. So we as Council on Aging think that's a very important benchmark to keep in mind. Next slide. We have a wonderful human and, or elder and human elder. That's New England. Elder and Human Services Division here in Reading. And this chart really exemplifies that. This chart shows that for a 6-month period actually a 5-month period in '22 compared to the same 5-month period in '23, there was a 21% increase in the number of people taking advantage of program and services offered by Elder and Human Services. And an even more astonishing number is that 100% increase in delivering programs and services. So we offer more programs and services now than we did in '22. So it's very important to keep this in mind also. Next slide. So how has Council on Aging helped in this effort? Well, over the past year, we've actively reached out to town and nonprofit committees and organizations. Probably our most active involvement has been with Recalc, as the town looks into a new and/or renovated senior center or a community center with designated senior space. So, as I said, that's probably our most active involvement over the past year. But we've also been involved in other activities. We have a liaison on the Simon's Way Committee, which is very important because they're going to be looking at programming opportunities and surveying the site. So we have a representative on that committee, Karen Janowski. And we have another volunteer on the Board of Health Survey Committee, and which is Marilyn, thank you. which is Marilyn Shapley. And she was very involved in developing the questions and really trying to scope out questions that would be specific to an aging population. So that was a very good connection for us. We also have a liaison with the Elder Services of Merrimack Valley, and she is able to bring back information about services and programs available through that organization. And finally, the organization I really want to tout, and it's a separate organization, really has nothing to do with the Council on Aging, but Reading now has a Friends of Reading Seniors 60 Plus. And they will be able to, let's cross our fingers, very soon they will complete all the paperwork, probably, hopefully within the month, and they will be able to start fundraising efforts. So this is a really good thing because we're going to, we currently use our trust funds money, we have the town budget, but this group, and they're a wonderful active group of people, are going to be able to do some fundraising to meet additional programming, funding, and services needs. Next slide. So other things that we've done. In early '22, what we did was that was when the buildings were reopening from the pandemic, and the Council on Aging felt it was very important to reach out to the residents of Reading to let them know that buildings were opening, that person-to-person services were resuming. So we had a 5x7 postcard that we created, and it was sent out and funded by us to over 10,000 Reading households to alert them that this change was happening. And also in that postcard, which I think is very important to mention, was we had a blurb about the recalc. So it began to alert the community that we were beginning to look at issues like the senior center, a community center, an active living center. It's going by many names now, but we were very, very, very happy with what we did, and we hope to be doing more of that outreach in this upcoming year. We what else? Let's see. Public outreach. We tried to attend every fair, every public event, and we had a table there that gave out information about the Council on Aging and also about Elder Affairs, the Elder and Human Services, and that was very effective. Also, the Friends of Reading was doing some of that too. The Friends of Reading Seniors was also doing some of that. And then social media, kind of a hit or miss with social media, but we tried to post on the various community Reading pages that were out there of events that were happening at ELD, and that we thought the community should be aware of in order to take advantage of it. So, and again, we hope to do more of that in the coming year. So, next slide. We feel very strongly that there is a need for a new and renovated senior center, community center with dedicated space, active living center for the population. And what I've listed here is a number of items that we feel are very important for people to understand. But what we did was we created a video. There were several of us that worked on this video. It took us about 4 months with the help of the Reading RCTV. And what you see there on there is a QR code, and that will take you right to the Council on Aging page on the town website, which has the video posted on it. And I really encourage people to take a look at that video. It's short, it's only 6 or 7 minutes long, and it's really worth your effort. We had a couple of volunteers that were willing to act as hosts, so we have our very own celebrities in this video. So it was kind of exciting to do. And next slide. So priorities for 2024. We are really going to be focusing on this initiative to either renovate or collaborate, however we do it. But the 60-plus community in Reading needs a new building. We've outlived this building. There's a number of reasons. So we are going to be working closely with EHS, and we're going to be working closely with the consultant, with the select board, and we're going to be going hand in hand in on this process. And I agree with Mark. I think so far the work group meeting, the one that I attended, I thought was very positive. The BH+A seems like it was a very good choice for the Reading community. And we'll continue, of course, to collaborate with Recalc and work with them. And we are going to begin a campaign on conducting outreach. We did have a letter in the Reading Post recently, mid-December, which was written by 2 of our members, Marilyn Shapley and Karen Janowski. And I think it provides a good overview of kind of the big picture in a more narrative format as opposed to bullet points. So I encourage people to read that, hoping to be able to post some of these things also out on the Council on Aging webpage on the town website. So we will continue to optimize the use of the trust funds. The plan is to continue to primarily use the ARPA funds. This allows us to grow the trust funds. So we're able to keep the money in the trust funds, and by the end of this year, we should have a very nice profit on those trust funds, which I think will be helpful as we move forward in our project. And of course, we're going to continue to advocate for the current and future needs of the 60-plus community. Next slide. So this is us, the Council on Aging. These are all the members. Great group of people, and very committed to the 60-plus community. Some of these people are working, some of these people currently use the center, some of these people are younger, some of these people are older. So I think we have a very good mix in the Council on Aging, again, as we move forward in meeting the needs of the older population here in Reading. And that's it. Any questions?
Board members? No, thank you for updating us. Keep up the
Okay.
great work.
Yeah,
Glad.
if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to give us a call, give me a call, send me an email. We also have an email which is on the Council on Aging page on the town website that people can send questions to. Okay?
Other board members? Questions, comments? Carlo? Great, Mark.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and thank you for your support, your ongoing support, and hopefully your future support as we move forward in this and collaborate on this great new project.
Okay, great. Okay, so moving right along to future agenda items, which starts on page 40 in our packet. Caitlin, if you could please pull up that page. So our next, as I mentioned at the liaison, during the liaison updates, we'll have a special meeting 1 week from tonight, January 16th, to announce the finalists for town manager. That's not on the future agendas, but our next scheduled meeting is on January 23rd. Currently, the only item that we have on the agenda is change of officers directors for Meadowbrook, and then to vote to accept the Reading Meadowbrook Trail easement, which I understand is still, we're still unclear as to whether this will be ready for a vote on January 23rd. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think we'll have a better notion in the next couple of days, though.
Okay, all right.
It's close. It's,
Yes, I think it's on conservation's agenda tomorrow.
tomorrow. Yeah, the goal is for them to vote on it first and us to vote afterward. So I think it's still on as of right now.
Okay, so, and I know, Carlo, that you spoke about rescheduling the Edge Sports presentation, but I just want to say here that, if we have other items for January 23rd, love to hear about them, but let's kind of keep an eye on whether the Meadowbrook item is ready for discussion on the 23rd. Does anyone have anything else? Any other board members have anything else that is time sensitive for January 23rd, so we know it now?
Well, I'm just gonna ask, either Matt or myself, reach out to Edge just to make sure
Yeah.
they can make the 23rd, so we have time to put it on, we have plenty of time to put it on the agenda, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping, given the, recent illness, that he'll be better by then, and hopefully he's available. Thanks.
Karen?
Oh, and I did ask them for a presentation ahead of time. so-
Edge.
Yes, Edge.
Yes,
yeah.
okay.
Communicate with them, so.
Karen? Yeah.
So got a call from a couple of residents, asking about follow-up for the Cato presentation and this group to acknowledge, commemorate, make good on our proclamation around Bill Russell. I would love to hear what we didn't do in that meeting, and basically that was a request for us to create an official ad hoc select board committee, which means we're on the hook for it, just like we're on the hook for the proclamation that we made. So I would love to have a discussion among select board members as to, what they might like to see come out of this committee for deliverables. Because again, this isn't, if they're asking us to create this committee, and I started doing some research and I have become more educated, and I think some really good deliveries can come out, but I haven't really had the chance to hear what other select board members think. My takeaway from the last time we met is that now it's a twofold process. It's civil rights work, it's an amazing athlete and a legacy from that perspective. Anyway, so that would be my thoughts of, can we have a discussion about what we'd like to see out of a committee like this? And I know the committee proponents, I believe they still like to get on our agenda.
Great, thanks, Karen. Other items, time sensitive for January 23rd.
Maybe the 23rd or soon thereafter. I have heard from some residents who have been asking to volunteer and wondering if VASC would be able to meet in the next several weeks to review them.
Yeah, that's timely, because actually just today we were communicating with Town Hall, and we know that because the home rule petition to expand the Board of Health to 5 full members was signed by the governor late last year, and we already have some applications in hand for full membership. We just need to double check that the that the vacancy was properly noticed. And we also had heard about a vacancy on the retirement board, but we're still checking about whether the retirement board vacancy is subject to VASC or some other process. We're thinking it might be not VASC. But all that is to say that we have it on our radar for Chris and I to meet with VASC, and perhaps, if I saw on the board vacancy website today that there was listings for like ZBA. I know the Cultural Council has been on social media.
Advisory has
So,
interest in
yes.
applications.
So my point is that we should, maybe get like an updated vacancy list to go along with scheduling the VASC. But hopefully we can schedule the VASC pretty soon.
So what's your idea on the agenda for the 16th? How long of a meeting is that gonna be? Not really clear.
Don't know how long it's gonna be, but the only agenda item will be for Bernie Lynch from Community Paradigm, our search consultant, to kind of explain the process thus far and to announce the names of the finalists.
Got it. Thanks.
So, yes, go ahead.
So will part of the agenda be to talk about the next steps also?
Correct, it'll be next steps, for
That's
select board
long.
interviews and vote. Yeah, so it's not a big agenda, we've got one item, essentially.
Probably, yeah, okay.
Yep, okay. Other agenda items? Chris?
Not more of an agenda item, it's just what I brought up earlier about the sign outside the former Walgreens over there, about getting it updated with all the other achievements from all the various sports things since then, because I think it's like 2018 is like the last team that won something on there or something. I know there's been a bunch since, so I don't know who's in control of
I don't know either,
that.
I'll have to check on that.
Schools.
I thought it was the school
It
department.
is a schools
Uh,
department.
But maybe I could check with the superintendent.
If you could, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. And then as Matt mentioned, just a preview for town meeting, we'll preview the warrant articles on February 6th, and we have to vote to close the warrant by the end of February, so we're aiming for that vote on February 27th. So, busy meetings in February.
What, Madam Chair, what is the timing, in your thoughts for continuing our discussion, about CPA? I know, Ben Cares has a number of willing volunteers. Could that be something we do on the 23rd?
I don't know if it's ready for the 23rd, but I do think it's something we need to talk about before, I think it's something definitely on either the 23rd if we go ahead with that meeting, which like I said, has, an item that might not be ripe. I wouldn't frankly hold a meeting just to talk about CPA on the 23rd, but I do think we should, if we go ahead with the meeting on the 23rd, we should perhaps include another discussion of CPA, and if not, we should add it to a February agenda. Great. And then I think we just have one set of minutes to approve. I believe it was from the budget session on December 12th. Caitlin, did you receive any edits to those December 12th minutes?
No, I did not.
Okay. And I don't know, Caitlin, if those are available to put on the screen. I know I did not have any edits, but I'll ask other board members if you have any edits.
Yeah, I think they were just, I do not, they were just presentations, so, great. It's good.
Okay, so is there a motion?
Motion to accept the meeting minutes of Tuesday, December 12th, 2023.
Thanks, Karen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Carlo, we'll start with you.
Yes.
Thank you, Karen. Yes. Mark?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Jackie, yes. Okay. So is there a motion to move into executive session?
Yes, there is. Move that the board go into executive session, including staff members Matt Cornelis, Fidel Maltez, Jane Kinsella, Chris Cole, Sharon Engstrom, Sean Donahue, and Caitlin Osella to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining and approve contracts for the public works, AFS, CME, Council 93, Local 1703, and Public Works Supervisory Union, AFS, CME, Council 93, Local. Okay, that's 1703 again. Further, the chair declares that an open meeting could have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the body, and the board will not reconvene in open session. I just wanna make sure I didn't forget any unions. Do we get them both?
Yes.
Public Works and the supervisory
Right,
union.
just
Okay,
two
we're good.
tonight.
We're good as it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Karen.
I will second, can I bring up a question? Just
Sure.
maybe a friendly, sorry, did you include all the folks in attendance?
Yes. Well,
Sharon, Christine? Okay, and then the quick correction that Fidel Maltese is not a staff member.
I didn't know whether you guys were having him join in,
He is
so.
coming, he did want to come to, and he's on his way.
Yeah.
But he's not a staff member, no.
Yeah, so we should just correct. Not-
Former staff member.
And former, okay,
Unless we can use that to keep.
Okay, I think that friendly amended to note that former staff member Fidel Maltese will be attending.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the motion. Is there a second? Thanks, Mark. Okay, we'll take a roll call vote to move into executive session. Carlo?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Jackie? Yes. Okay, we'll move into executive session, not to return to public session tonight.